Hey, so glad you could stop by. You're in for a treat. I'm going to show everyone my muffins. S'mores muffins. I'm whipping up this little treat before my sister's kid, who, according to the conceit of this channel, I watch after school, well, before they get off the bus. I'll have all the ingredients you need listed in the description to this video. And I want to give credit to Sally Sibthorpe of Shelby Township, Michigan, who, so far as I can tell, created this recipe. Thanks, Sally. I forgot to put this butter in the refrigerator when I got home from the grocery store last night, so it should be about perfect. Next, add a 1/4 cup brown sugar and 4 teaspoons of not so brown sugar to 3 tablespoons of softened butter. We're going to cream these together until the mixture is light and fluffy. Oh, and hey, did y'all hear anything about that primary election we had earlier this month in Missouri? Your Aunt Tracy's favorite U.S. representative, Cori Bush, won big time. She got around 70% of the vote, likely guaranteeing she'll serve another term in Congress. Beat in 1 egg. We love Cori Bush in this apartment because she supports Medicare for all, repealing the Hyde Amendment, ending the war on drugs, legalizing marijuana, defunding the police, codifying the right to abortion care, ending partisan gerrymandering, and securing housing as a human right. Stir in 1/3 cup sour cream. The other big race in the Missouri primary revolves around the vacant Senate seat that's up for grabs due to the retirement of Philip Morris lackey Roy Blunt. Next, we're going to crush some graham crackers into crumbs and see them driven before us. We'll need about 1/2 cup. I'm using cinnamon graham crackers, but if you want to use the honey kind, just add a 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon to the recipe. On the Democrat side of the primary, I voted for the former Marine from Jefferson City, Lucas Kuntz. And not just because he's kind of a snack, but also because he was a proponent of reducing federal military spending to support domestic programs here at home. Lucas supported the $15 minimum wage and student loan forgiveness and universal pre-K, and he's a really nice kid. He moved his mother in with him after she was diagnosed with cancer and the medical bills piled up and forced her out of her own home. Combine with your crushed graham cracker crumbs 2/3 cup flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, and cinnamon. Lucas's chances of winning looked pretty good for a while. He was trouncing his opponent, former state senator Scott Sifton, and he'd raised $5 million without taking any PAC money. We're going to take our dry crumb mixture and add it to our cream mixture alternately with 3 tablespoons of milk until it's just moistened. Do y'all remember how in the last presidential primary, it looked like Bernie Sanders was going to win for a minute, and then all the other nominees dropped out on the same day and got in line behind Joe Biden? Well, one day before the deadline to announce your candidacy in the primary, Scott Sifton dropped out and endorsed Anheuser-Busch heiress Trudy Busch Valentine, who entered the election at the last minute by writing herself a $5 million check and loaning it to her campaign. Just like our girl Cori Bush, Trudy Busch Valentine is a registered nurse. But that's really where the similarities end. Cori was once evicted, unhoused, and lived in her car with her 2 babies. Trudy Busch Valentine donated $4 million to the nursing school she attended at St. Louis University, which is now named after her. Fold in 1/3 cup chocolate chips. Listen, Trudy won the primary, and I'm going to vote for her in the general election. Trudy believes that transgender children should have access to gender-affirming care in line with the recommendations of medical experts like those of the American Academy of Pediatrics. She pledges to co-sponsor the Equality Act. She wants to end the filibuster in the Senate, and she wants to codify Roe v. Wade into law. But I don't completely trust her. First of all, she's from a wealthy family. She grew up and lives on Grant's Farm, as in Ulysses S., as in the current tomb resident and former president. But back in Ulysses' day, Grant's Farm was a slave plantation called, and I wish I was making this up, Whitehaven. Now today, Grant's Farm is an animal sanctuary where, for a small fee, you can go and feed adorable little baby goats. And someday, fingers crossed, sneak one of those little cuties home in your purse with you. Oh, and if you're the NRA, you can even hold a fundraiser there, like they did in 2018, and take home 43 grand in your purse. Now's a good time to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Now we've all done some crazy things in our 20s. One time your Aunt Tracy dropped LSD into her eyeballs at a music festival and woke up in her skivvies riding on a moving parade float. We've all been there. As a young woman in 1977, Trudy Bush Valentine was crowned queen of a whites-only debutante ball called the Veiled Prophet Ball. See that veiled character there escorting the queen? That's the Veiled Prophet, and yes, that costume is the costume of a Klansman. The centuries-old organization that hosted the debutante ball had an unquestionably racist, sexist, and elitist past. In fact, the first Veiled Prophet Parade was held to mark a violent anniversary, the crushing of the largest workers' strike in St. Louis history, the Great Railroad Strike of 1877. Trudy's brother, August Bush III, donated $10,000 to State Senator Bill Eigel, who sponsored a bill to ban transgender girls from participating in sports here in Missouri. I understand we can't be held responsible for the actions of our siblings, but the Anheuser-Busch Corporation has also donated $75,000 to Ron DeSantis in Florida, and another $75,000 to Trudy Bush Valentine's opponent in the general election, Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt is the current Missouri Attorney General who recently sued the Biden administration over directives to extend protections to LGBTQ Americans in schools and in workplaces. Eric Schmidt won the Republican nomination for Roy Blunt's vacated Senate seat. He defeated Vicky Hartzler, a woman I absolutely cannot stand. So now we're going to fill all of our muffin cups a quarter of the way up with batter. Vicky Hartzler ran a campaign ad dead-naming Leah Thomas. She opposed the Equality Act and voted against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act in 2019. Take a tablespoon of marshmallow cream and spoon it into each muffin cup. Top the marshmallow cream with the remaining batter and pop them in the oven for about 15 minutes. Eric Schmidt's primary opponent was Eric Greitens. What do I know about Eric Greitens? Well, the former governor coerced his hairdresser into sexual contact, blindfolding her and binding her to a workout bench, ripping off her clothes and taking pictures with the intent of using them for blackmail, and was alleged in court to have abused his ex-wife and their young son. As primary election day grew closer, the three ghouls vying for the Republican nomination were all seeking the endorsement of their Sith Lord, former Republican President Donald Trump, who I hear got himself in a bit of hot water for taking office supplies home. You know, little things like White House napkins and staplers and top-secret nuclear weapons program documents.
Why, I didn't think those papers were important. You didn't think they were important. Do you realize I had my design wrapped in those papers?
See, the Monday before the primary, Trump posted on his social media that he would make his official election endorsement announcement later that day, despite the fact that he had no idea who he should endorse. You see, a lot of the candidates Trump's been endorsing have gotten their asses kicked in the primaries, and he didn't want to be seen as backing yet another loser. So Trump is at his golf course in Bedminster, New Jersey, and he meets there with RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, who's in the camp of Eric Schmidt. Trump then calls junior senator and part-time sprinter Josh Hawley, who is a Vicky Hartzler stan. But Hawley saw her lagging in the polls and now thinks Trump should support Eric Schmidt. Enter Kimberly Guilfoyle, the fiancé of Donald Trump Jr., who had spent the weekend making the case for Eric Greitens, saying that the party establishment had tried to get Trump to oppose Greitens. So now Mr. Donald has no idea what he should do. He's sitting there thinking, well, I like the fact that Eric Greitens is a sexual predator, but he is third place in the polls. And I really need to make it look like my endorsement actually means something. What to do. So then, some brilliant political strategist suggests, what if you just endorsed Eric? Since, you know, Eric Schmidt, Eric Greitens, Eric. And Trump is like, well, it's a little too cute, but I do like taking the easy way out, and I am eager to get back to my golf game. Are their names spelled identically? Because otherwise, it just won't work. You think I'm kidding, right? No, that, dear kiddos, that's exactly what they did. Just before the election, Trump put out his official statement, I trust the great people of Missouri on this one to make up their own minds. I am therefore proud to announce that Eric has my complete and total endorsement. Muffins are ready, and just in time, too. They should be getting off the bus any second now. That's funny. I could have sworn I put a door knock sound effect in here. I guess we can wait just a bit longer. Hey, Mom. Yeah, I knew it was you. I edit these videos. Listen, there's no time for that. My niece and/or nephew is 90 seconds late getting off the bus. Look, I've already organized a search party. What I need you to do is call the printing press at the dairy and pick out a cute picture for the milk cartons. What do you mean, they're with you? I don't get it. Well, why should that matter? But I made muffins. Well, I think good grooming habits are very important. Oh, No, I'm not angry. I'm not, Mother. I'm not an angry person. I won't make any rash decisions based on my current emotional state. Yeah, fine. Okay, bye-bye. That's it, Victor. Pack up the record collection. We're moving tonight. Well, there's nothing for me here. If I can't babysit, what's the point? You're right. I can't leave tonight. I have to put in my 2 weeks notice at the sexy toy store. Does that phone still work? Hello, operator? Yeah, could you patch me through to the place I work at? Yes, I'll hold. Hey, it's Tracy. Yeah, how are you? Oh, just blurring the line between reality and fiction. Hey, is Gina in? Okay. Hey, Gina, it's Tracy. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna have to tender my resignation or whatever. Yeah, that's right. No, nothing you did. I'm making a reckless decision based on emotional logic to do something spontaneous. Yeah, so this will be my last 2 weeks working down in the dildo mines. Okay, love you, bye. I am not staying here if I don't get to babysit. Like, what's the point of even living this close to family if you never get to see them? My mom told me I better not call my sister tonight, that I should wait until I calm down, but I don't know, I just really feel like talking to her. After all, I'm sure it wasn't her idea. Somebody must have put her up to it. I wonder what kind of media she's been listening to. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Nobody thinks that I'm a bad influence on kids. Hi, could you put my sister on the line, please?
If you really want to talk to a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old about their sexuality and
That's
gender,
great. Can I just talk to my sister, please?
You're a pervert. You're a weirdo. Maybe teach the kids to read before you tell them to go trans.
Yeah, you're very smart. Now shut up and put my sister on the line.
You shouldn't be talking to kindergartners about gender identity, especially if you're not their parents. That's creepy. You should be arrested for that.
And we both are very concerned what's going on with the trans movement
but listen,
the harm that is being wrought upon kids.
All we're telling them is you can't groom young children, and to them it's Armageddon, and that's because they know they have to indoctrinate the kids into this madness very, very young.
Kids are being primed, as it were. They're being exploited. They're being taught that they can be born in the wrong body, so that's a fantasy, and then they're introduced concepts. They really start to become very deviant in terms of sexuality.
Yeah, but listen.
Now they're being groomed.
You keep saying that word.
That's what we call grooming.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. No, it's not inconceivable.
But when strange adults impose their sexual ideas onto pubescent children and attempt to coax them into a certain sexual lifestyle...
Yeah, I think you might be identifying the wrong group of people. You should watch the movie Clue again.
The children are being, I would say, indoctrinated.
Well, it's not really indoctrination to be informative. I mean, kids aren't old enough to drive, but we teach them not to play in the street, right?
And they don't even understand sexuality. They are now reading books.
You're so accustomed to being perpetually surrounded by gender norms that you don't even notice them until somebody comes along and breaks the norms.
So what's that doing to their mind? It's causing great confusion.
I mean, it's inclusive. Gender identity does include cisgender people, you know.
It's actually bringing porn into the classroom.
You guys do it too. You're so surrounded every day by gendered propaganda, you don't even notice it most of the time. I mean, look at this. What would you call this?
I would guess the propagation of the information about transgender is sponsored by billionaires. Some of them themselves are
transgender billionaires.
Riding on the backs of our children. They have a vested interest in making sure that children start transitioning in big groups.
$24,000 a year for every child that gets on hormone blockers.
Well, it's mostly cisgender people who take hormones.
Goes to over 4,000. We're talking about $2 million worth of revenue.
Broken down over time, the LGBT population of America seems to be roughly doubling every generation, which means if we follow this trajectory, we will all be gay in 2054.
Well, yeah, that's just how science works.
Is anything to shock and challenge
Are
the
you sure it's not
squares
because
that
of
brought
true
you up?
crime? I mean, there's been a lot more true crime in the recent years. Or maybe it's avocado toast. Maybe it's bird scooters.
But I assert that without porn and porn's influence and
yeah, it's kind of interesting to me how you connect pornography and being transgender in your brain. I think I'm going to need to see your browser history.
The trans movement would die back to the numbers.
Because of course correlation equals causation. They both start with the letter C.
Didn't exist.
So does Cookie. Wait, can I see that graph again? That last one. Well, this graph shows a steep rise in left-handed people about the same time that they stop being socially persecuted. That's interesting. Kind of pertinent, don't you think?
The LA Times summarizes, she's come to believe that some children identifying as trans are falling under the influence of their peers and social media.
Ah! Listen, just stop. I can personally guarantee you the transgender people are not trying to persuade children to become transgender. How can I be so sure? Because we know something that you don't understand. It doesn't work that way. In a recent study of 10,000 teens over 15 states, data did not support the hypothesis that young people identify as transgender due to social pressure. And the percentage of adolescents who openly identify as trans actually decreased from 2017 to 2019. I'll post a link to the peer-reviewed article in the description for those who like to see receipts. It's published in the August 3rd issue of the Journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics. You know, that's the professional journal of, pediatrics. Plus, I have no motivation to make other people transgender. Do you have any idea how much competition I have from transgender people on YouTube as it is? Bah! Look, I can't speak for everybody, but there's nothing inherently sexual about being transgender. That's you projecting your own thoughts into my head. I transitioned because I simply could not function as my assigned sex at birth. For me, transitioning allowed me to access feelings and emotions that I just could not grasp before. Feelings like dignity, self-worth, pride. It tremendously reduced my anxiety. I certainly didn't transition because I wanted to cheat at sports, or go into different bathrooms, or to indoctrinate children into a wicked ideology. I did it because to me it feels authentic, and I shouldn't have to keep explaining myself. I believe this is the last of it. Well, hey, how'd you get here? Well, yeah, I'm glad to see you. I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye. Oh, honey. Hey, no. It's not your fault I'm moving away, sweetie. It's not because of anything you did. Listen, I've needed to get out of here for a while now. I've kind of overstayed my welcome as it is. You know, I've been trying for a number of years to establish myself in this community. Tried to put down roots, to really find a sense of belonging, and it just never really worked out for me. So I made a decision. If I can't have stability, I might as well have adventure. Look, I know, I'm gonna miss you too. But hey, anytime you want to talk to me, this is a magic mirror. You just look into it and say the magic words and I'll appear. It's romper bomper, stomper boo. I'm just f***ing with you. You can see me anytime. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel. Yeah, that's kind of a self-serving plug, I admit it, but I'll always be around. Okay, well, it's time for me to get out of here. A moving truck's not gonna stay there forever. You want to have one last look out the window? Hey, be my guest.